I was born in Denver, Colorado, and at that time it was pretty small. My parents had my sister and I doing all kinds of activities, and my ballet teachers were very influential in my life. And I think probably that's why I was so comfortable in my sexuality, is because they were together for a long time, and I knew that they were gay. They were good role models. I didn't even know that I might be gay, but I think they knew it.
My family emigrated to the United States from Scotland. Both of them were born in Scotland. They didn't meet until they had moved to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A year after I was born, we moved to California. This was during the Depression, so money was always a little tight.
We had a small cabin in the mountains. In college, I had a friend. We went to the mountains together and went up there, and we were dancing in the living room, and then all of a sudden he freezes and looks and says, "There's somebody out there." So I turned around and I saw my dad looking in the window. He called in about a couple of days and he said, "Can we have lunch?" My parents said, "Well, why didn't you tell us? Why didn't, you could have gone to, the preacher, we could have gotten you help, etc." And by that time, I was so comfortable with it. I told them that it took me 17 years to get comfortable, and I didn't expect them to be comfortable overnight.
I didn't really come out until I was an adult, around 21 years old. I was in the Army. I had some of my buddies come into town and stay at my parents' home with me. And we went up to Hollywood, and we were sort of in a line, and the first friend walked in to this bar, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. I think I was probably the fifth one. And by the time I was walking in, they were pushing me back out. And they said, "That's a gay bar, or a queer bar," I think is what they called it. I, marked down exactly where I was, so I knew. And it wasn't until I was back in Los Angeles on a weekend that I made my way to that bar.
John and I got together in the early 80s, and we met one evening when my then partner and I were having a cocktail party.
I stopped by to visit a very close friend of mine after work, and he said, "Well, we're just off to," he and his husband, "we're just going to the neighbors for a cocktail." We went to the party, and it was Rob had his partner at that time, and Rob, who was sort of in the background, very handsome, and I was just taken by Rob. However, he was already taken, so nothing really happened at that point.
And so that was my first time to meet him. When I broke up with that partner, whose name was Bud, I was at a bar and ran into him.
And I said, "Hi, Rob, how are you? Where's Bud?" And he said, "Well, we're not together anymore." And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Would you like to go to dinner?"
John was a wonderful gentleman, smart, very intelligent. He's very caring and very loving, and I think that was the attraction.
That was April 15th, 1982, and we haven't been apart since. I was invited to a dinner party put on by a person who was involved with the Gay Community Center in Los Angeles. I became very sold on the concept of the Gay Community Center because one of their projects was to keep kids off the street.
John and I first became acquainted with the Center of Los Angeles. They did their first black tie dinner, and so we went. I think it was probably $100. They went on a fundraising drive to buy their own building.
We stepped forward and gave the lead gift for that purchase, and it's now a major supplier of health care, all types of things that are necessary for the gay community.
And as far as I know, it was probably the largest gift ever given to a gay organization, and all of a sudden it allowed other people to give larger and larger gifts instead of $100 or so. You know, they gave into the tens of thousands and the hundreds of thousands. We're very pleased and proud of that.
We were married in October of '08. I thought it would just be, well, we're making a marriage contract that's valid in the law. But it was far more emotional than that. Marriage is a great honor, and it's very important to take that step, because you're binding yourselves to a contract to take care of each other.
We were just all in tears. It was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony.